On the fact that we don't have a large police force and there has been an increasing amount of vandalism going on, what I'm trying to do is to get the community to work with the police force, give them that extra set of eyes that they need, and hopefully deter some of the vandals. There's been a lot of people getting their windows broken. There's been vehicles damaged. There's been people breaking into garages and causing damage. Kids out past curfew doing damage to businesses, and we're just trying to deter that. It's kind of upsetting and frustrating because you wake up in the morning to go to work and you never know, oh my goodness, am I going to have all the windows in my car, or am I going to have a window broken out, or are you going to go to work and hear about somebody that was affected by one of these acts of the vandalism? The goal of this is for us to walk the streets, like I said, give the police that extra eyeball, give them an extra hand, getting citizens, encouraging citizens to say, oh, I saw something happen, and to report it.
Okay.
And not to be afraid to report things, because that's one of the biggest problems in this borough is people see things happening, they'll be looking out their window and see something happening, and they'll just close the blinds or close the shades and just let it happen. We want them to know that there are people that they can come to, that it would be confidential, and they can report it to the police without retaliation, hopefully.
Okay.
What I'm catering to are middle school students from 8th grade and up. Anybody that just wants to get involved, doesn't mind getting up and walking the streets, and, not afraid to come forward if they see anything.
And I know your son was going to talk to me yesterday. How does he feel about everything that's going on here?
He's upset because basically what's going on is, like, the people that are doing this, like, if their parents report the crime, they're being threatened with retaliation. But I told my son's friends not to be afraid, that you are doing the right thing by reporting any act of vandalism or any crime that you see happening. They think it's wrong. They don't think it's the right thing to do. My son and most of his classmates that he associates with are all, are in the Blue Devils football program or in the Little League program. They just think it's wrong. They think that they shouldn't be out on the streets causing problems, and maybe they should join an activity or get involved with a sport. Currently, the town curfew is Sunday through Thursday till 10 o'clock at night, Friday and Saturday till 11 o'clock at night.
And that's for ages?
I believe it's under 18. I just would like the community to stop being afraid. There's no reason to be afraid to report something wrong. I hope more residents will see what we're doing, that we're trying to do good. We'll stop being negative about it and maybe come out and try to help us. Or if they see something, maybe they're afraid to report, but they'll report it to one of us. Because what I'm basically trying to do is to stop a bigger act of vandalism from happening.
Well, I lived right down there is the school, and the kids come up from the school after they have their breakfast, free lunch, and there's a lot of, when they come up, they beat each other, they grab someone that's on the swings, or they'll kick a dog, or they're brutal, or they'll fight amongst themselves. And when they're coming across the street, if an elderly person's going down the street, they'll call them all kind of names. And if you say anything to them, and really there's like a gang of them, like I would say 8 to 10. And if you say something, they tell you, they explicit say their words, you know what I mean, and say, go in the house, old lady, or F this and B that, you know what I mean. And today there was an incident about 10 o'clock this morning, and I called the dispatch center, and I said, I want to see a police officer, because they only went up the street, and I come out and I said, the one kid took a bottle, threw it up in the air, and smashed glass all over the basketball court. The basketball court is for little kids. You'll never see little kids over there, because these kids are traumatizing them. You can't walk a dog over there because the glass that they break on there. They don't care if there's basketball nets up there. They don't care for anything. You can't see an adult with them. You don't know who they are. So I said, yo, that wasn't very nice what you did over there. And this girl came out and said, mind your own effing business. And I said, who was the kid that did that? And the one child came out and said, he gave me his name, and the girl went over there and grabbed him by the neck and said, "We don't give up names." They're anywhere from, honest to God, 7 years old till 11 or 12 years old. 7 years old till, and I said, "You know what? Well, I'm calling the cops," and they said, "You can do what you want because they're not going to do nothing to us."
Wow.
That's the end result. We went to a borough council meeting, and first of all, they came out and they said, "Who was the police officer?" That should have nothing to do with anything. We all know who these kids are, where they belong to. You know, all you got to do is the people that had vandalism onto the situation, they know where they live and everything else. Arrest their parents. Give them a fine or something where they could go after their kids. Because they know we can't take pictures of them. We can't, grab them and hold them till the police come here because they know all the rights. They know all their rights. It's unbelievable. They're running roofs. My cousin got his boat broken into on Thursday night. They came out and they said, "Well, what time did it happen?" You're sleeping. They're out till 10, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They go down to the park down there and they sleep. They sleep. Like, where's these parents at? So they called Children and Youth, and Children and Youth said they can't pursue anything because they're awards of the state. I can't understand why they're saying they're awards of the state. They can't go in there and find them adults.
Right.
Even their parents. Even if they're foster, and parents. Someone has to be held responsible. And the sad part is, the one child was carrying a pellet gun, a 45 pellet gun. He went down to the IGA, and everyone's afraid because he says, "I'll shoot you." Now, you as an adult, are afraid you don't know if it's a real gun or not a real gun, and they laugh about it.
And where'd you hear that from? Just people talking?
Oh, yeah, because they come up and they said, "You should have saw it just happened down at Boyers." Everyone's talking about what's going on in this town, and nothing is getting done.
Wow. I called the police today. They said we have no comment.
There you go. And I had the officer here, it was about 11 o'clock this morning. And I says, "And you know what, sir?" I said, "They'll be here tomorrow to go down. If you don't pick them up to bring them back here, I'll meet you down at the school tomorrow and we can identify them there."
Right. Now,
never came back.
There's a community watch group that's trying to form to try to deter some of this from happening. Be out on the streets patrolling, letting kids know, like, hey, we are walking around, we're looking for this, we want to stop it. How, as a resident, do you feel about people taking action like that?
It happened quite a few years ago and it never went far.
Yeah.
It was dead in the water. I don't know if we have to get Mr. Holokavich involved because he's in with Children and Youth. It seems like no one's, the seesaw isn't even. Seesaw's not even. You call down Children and Youth, they said, "We don't have a report." The Shenandoah police officers have to make the report before Children and Youth get involved. I have no clue. I don't know the process, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But why should an elderly person be afraid to walk down to that store? That store used to be open 24 hours a day. The last thing that happened over that park, they close at 10 o'clock because they're afraid and they fear for their lives. These kids are brutal. They broke into a garage, and the garage was $16,000. Not only that, they put their names on the car that they smashed. Can you imagine? And they don't care, and they're here today doing the same thing, and it's only a week. Well, rumors have it, it's been like this at the school for a while. But
Okay.
the security guard said they're not allowed to handle them, they're not allowed to do anything about them, so when the fear goes from one thing to another, then they put it in the paper about the squad. So what do you think they did? They probably have a fort somewhere made with all their, because now they're, you know what I mean? Now they made a name for themselves. You can't explicit something like that as far as I'm concerned. You're supposed to be playing with a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're belligerent. They're belligerent. There was a car that went through. They shot out the window, and they don't care.
Would you say it's out of control here?
Out of control. Now, I was fixing my truck 2 days ago, and I saw the father, and I said, or stepfather, whatever he is, and I thought, I'm not even going to see, because they said that they would look into it. They were walking, he just bought them 2 brand new bikes, and these are the little ones, the 9-year-olds, and they were riding up the street, and a car was coming around, and these kids drove in the street all the way up in the middle of the road, and the cars are beeping the horn, and the stepfather was saying, "Shove that horn up your ass." So, where do you go from there? It's sad. The sad part is, it's out of control. That how are you going to control them now? Something has to be done, but no one's giving you any answers. You can't go back and say what happened in January and they say, well, who was the officer there? Don't worry about the officer. Just take the kids. You're the officer. Take them right down to juvie. Do something. But they're uncontrollable.